Good morning, in the names of the Most High. Greetings, back again. So just want to greet all Yasharallah, aka Israel, in the English language, and all of the Gentile nations, all of ya. Who's Yasharallah? Israel, us descendants of the slave trade, whether we live in Europe, America, Africa, whatever. We're not African, all right? We're Hebrews, that's what we are. Well, I'll get on to that. Yeah, I'm back again with the daily grinds. These daily grinds were getting quite popular until I stopped. And I wasn't doing them for popularity. I didn't start doing them for popularity. Obviously, with Dad passing and everything, I guess maybe it was my way of dealing with things, how I was feeling, and that. But I seen when I was doing it, it was helping a lot of people to understand certain things that probably they didn't understand before, or giving them a different way of looking on things, life, how this thing actually works, giving them a spiritual understanding which maybe they never had, or helping them to connect the dots or whatnot. As I said before, the reason why I stopped, because I realised, I was speaking a lot of truth. Some things I got twisted, but generally most of what I was saying was correct. But I realised I was spending so much time doing these daily grinds without actually, focusing on implementing certain things in myself. So I stopped and I started concentrating on that. And now I'm in a much better position to do these daily grinds while, of course, working on my own spiritual life, So give thanks. Now I've got so much to say. Man. But I'm going to try and keep these as short and as sweet as possible, because sometimes people lose interest when they're too long. So I'm going to try and keep them no longer than 10-15 minutes. I'm going to try. When I first started doing these vids, I remember I was talking to Robbie D, because Robbie D's been a great encouragement to me as well. Not that we talk on the phone that often, but the way I've seen him step out. Because remember, this was somebody who was up there in the rave scene. And even though we went through other traumas, whatever we went through, Robbie D will always be Robbie D. You can't take that away from him, you know what I mean? But he disregarded all that when he woke up, when the Most High woke him up. And he just went in. And when I seen him going in, I was thinking to myself, well, hold on a minute. This is a brother that I prayed for like years ago. 2001, whenever it was. The Most High answered that prayer, and I just see him coming out speaking bare truth. And even though I put little things in my bars and whatnot, put up a little truth post here and there, I wasn't doing half as much as I should have been, and I felt ashamed, so him coming out, not businessing what people think of him or whatnot, it encouraged me to step out, to say, you know what, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Hebrew, I believe in the Bible, I believe in the extra biblical books that they've taught us to stay away from, the book of Enoch, the book of Jasher. You understand? Enough books, man. The testaments of the patriarchs. The patriarchs are the fathers of the tribes, yeah? Like Abraham had a son named Isaac. Isaac had a son named Jacob. The Most High changed Jacob's name to Israel, Yasharallah. Yasharallah had 12 sons, yeah? Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, and so on. Judah was another one of the sons. These sons then went on to have families. Families make up clans. Clans make up tribes. And tribes make up nations. That's the way it's always worked. But the so-called elite, don't know who they think they are, call themselves elite, because they're not elite. How dare they call themselves kings and queens and prince and princesses? What, these devil worshippers? I think not. And the scriptures even talk about them. They're giving themselves names like princes and princes. These people are jokers, yeah? So, my point is, yes, I'm a son of the Most High. I'm Yasharallah, Jacob. I will never be ashamed to confess my faith, regardless of who wants to treat me differently, who wants to look at me differently in a bad or negative sense, who wants to say I'm preaching on them, who wants to say he thinks he's holier than thou, whatever. Whenever, people don't want to book me, whatever, who don't want to work with me, whatever. I'm here to wake people up and to move on to perfection in myself, because I'm far from perfect. So I've done a lot of bad stuff in my life, and I can never put right the bad stuff that I have done, but what I can do is do better. You get what I'm saying? That's the best thing any of us can do, is do better. And even if you fall in whatever it is, you don't need to stay down. Just get back up. Just keep stepping. It's our dog behind me. Nope. So yeah, all praise to the Most High. Like I said, I've got a lot to say, man. I've got a lot to say. As you know, not long got back from Greece, and it only dawned on me, I think it was the second day when I was there, where I actually was. Let me explain. Greek mythology. Here in England, they teach us this in school. It's all make-believe, none of it happened, this and that. In Greece, they take their history very, very, very seriously. When we was on the coach going towards the Alexandria Mountains, they call him Alexander the Great, but he weren't great at all. He was a pagan, do you know what I mean? I call him Alexander the Greek. The Bible calls him, or certain scriptures refer to him as the Grecian. Well, not the scriptures, sorry, when, people are interpreting the scriptures, we just call him the Grecian, the Greek. That's who he was. No, he wasn't great. Man was a genial, one of them ones. But yeah, when she was going into the history, she started from when the gods came down, Zeus and all them, Zeus then, trying to think of the names now, but Greek mythology. And then she went up all the way up to the Alexander period, Roman Empire and whatnot. They take their thing seriously, really seriously. I was talking to the hotel manager and I asked him directly, do people really believe in Greek mythology in this country? And he said, well, 40% do and 60% no. But in his own words, everything fits too perfect for it not to be true. And he says that he, in the Cliff of the Rocks in the Olympia Mountains, where we actually went, we didn't go all the way up. But it says in the Cliff of the Rocks, there's a certain place where at a particular hour of the day, when the sun shines on it, you can actually see the face of Zeus. And he said he's seen it with his own two eyes. And he's actually sent me something on my Facebook if you want to have a look. I'll repost it later. And he said it's not a carving. It's not a carving. And you can only see the face when the sun shines at a particular time of the day. Amazing, it says. And I've seen, he's put the thing on my Facebook and I'm like, whoa. So why am I speaking about this? Because as some of you know out there, I make it known, I'm not a Christian. I used to be, but then I found out what that was. And then the Most High woke me up to, what's really going on and who I really am, what nationality I belong to, which is Yasharallah, Israel. I'm a Hebrew, yeah. Now, there's a lot of Hebrews and Christians alike that they will only read the Bible. They'll only read the Bible, failing to realize that they've hidden certain books from us that our forefathers used to read and we knew was the word of the Most High. Like I say, the book of Enoch, the book of Jasher. These books that I've mentioned previously. And when you read the book of Enoch, right? When you read the book of Enoch, it gives you the exact account of what happened in Genesis chapter 6. Yeah, when the sons of God or the sons of the Most High came down and they copulated with human women. Yeah. Genesis 6, it just tells you that the sons of God came down. But when you look at the term sons of God, I think it's used 3 times in the so-called Old Testament. And the Hebrew word for that is Benai Elohim, which means angels. It doesn't mean the sons of Seth, like a lot of Christians believe, or that, you know, they've been taught to believe. When you look at what it means, the angels, it's only referring to the angels. It says it, the sons of God in Genesis, it says it in the book of Job, and it says it in the Psalms, I believe. I'm sure it's just 3 times. But every time when you look up the translation, the sons of God is Benai Elohim. Benai Elohim is the angels. There's no denying it. Yeah. So